Alyssa Jones, and welcome to my Flosstube channel that is mostly about cross stitch, although I am going to share a couple books that I'm working on reading right now. I don't have reviews of them because I haven't finished reading them yet, but I'm happy to share with you what I am reading. Since I last saw you in January, I have worked on several projects. I fully expected to have more days off because of snow, but it's been an extraordinarily weird winter here in upstate New York, and we haven't even had like snow delays in the mornings. We've only had one of those, and we have had 2 snow days, but I think they both happened before I last filmed. And I've had a couple long weekends. This is one of them, and they've kind of been filled with stitching and other winter activities, but I didn't get around. So here I am today on President's Day. It is February 20th, and I have worked on several things since I last saw you, and so I'm going to start going through my list. It's kind of a sloppy list, and I'll be jumping around and am almost guaranteed to forget something. But until then, we'll pretend I have it all together. So one of the first projects I worked on is my Some Enchanted Evening project. It's a full coverage cross stitch. I am stitching at 1 strand full cross over 1 on 25 count, and it is original artwork by Randall Spangler and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this is one that I've done 50 stitches at least every day, and it's really close to the halfway point now. Hopefully you notice a difference. If I can find a picture of where I was before, I will insert it, but oh, that's growing significantly. I love that you can see this tower now. For a long time I thought part of this looked like a little autumn tree, and now it no longer does. But I still am going to be stitching castle, and that's about it. But it is interesting, and I've gotten to fill in quite a bit more. This is getting closer to the bottom. It's still not there though. It's lovely. I really enjoy that one. Love that crescent moon so much. And it wasn't until like it was all done, I don't know if I'll catch it on here with the way the lighting is today, but that moon is actually very, very detailed. Absolutely beautiful artwork. So I'm happy with how that one's coming along. And I'll continue with my 50 stitches a day and hopefully maybe get another 4 or 5% done before the next time I film. It's getting there. And then, all right, next on my list, I've been doing Modern Folk Monday, and I have stuck with that except for the one Monday where I forgot it was Monday, and I didn't remember to get out a Modern Folk piece at all. And I mean, that's a little embarrassing, but on most Mondays, I've managed to also stitch about 500 stitches on each Modern Folk piece that I've gotten out. That's definitely made some progress. I have worked on, since I last saw you, 3 of my Modern Folk embroidery pieces, according to my list. So one of them was a brand new start, so I'll share that one first. I'm supposed to stitch this later today, and I really should take a minute and figure out how big it's actually going to be so I can cut down the fabric, because right now I'm still working with a bed sheet and it's a little ridiculous. Like, when you see how little it is too. This is the Reaching Skyward. It's the Modern Folk Embroidery 2023 stitch along. It is not a mystery stitch along. It is charted in 2 colors, and I chose to go with 2 colors from Leo and Roxy Floss Co, and I ordered them from Evertote in Canada. And I got Fairy Dust and Figure Skates. Figure Skates is the lighter pink, and then Fairy Dust is a darker pink. Once again, I've chosen colors that do not have a ton of contrast, but I don't dislike them. I'm only maybe close to 2% done, maybe, and it's all border so far. I do like the colors a lot, and this is on 40 count ballet shoes by Fox and Rabbit. It's just pretty, right? This is not exciting yet. But today I'm going to stitch it and I'm going to work more on filling in, sorry about the light, this box, this long box. And so if I try to get 500 stitches on that, I'll probably still be stitching on that box next time. I'm excited to be past a little bit of border and into the actual main stitching part of this, which is the big castle. I'm not there yet though. But I am excited I got to start it. On the same fabric is my 2022 Modern Folk Embroidery stitch along, and this one was a mystery stitch along last year. I'm sorry, I just realized like my hair is probably standing straight up. Feathers for hair. And I worked on this a couple of times, and I almost finished what would have been the April section from last year, but I did finish across the top row, and the name, I called it an alphabet in my last video. It's not an alphabet, it's the name. But it's getting there. There's I think it's a swan, or no, a peacock still to stitch over here somewhere, like maybe in here. But this is with DMC 645 on the 40 count ballet shoes linen by Fox and Rabbit. And I think it's beautiful. And I'm excited that I've made some progress. I mean, is there still a ton of mistakes? Yes, of course there is. Are things just not even close to lined up? Of course. Like, look at this. This one's lower, this one's higher. But honestly, it doesn't bother me much. I'm not going to sit and look at it on the wall and be all worried about it. I'll just enjoy the fact that it's stitched and happy. So I stitched on those two Modern Folk embroideries, and then I also put some time into the Fruits of Plenty, which was the 2021 Modern Folk embroidery stitch along. These Modern Folk Mondays are really helping me. This is stitched on, I wrote it down, 40 counts WYGART Newcastle in platinum. And I'm stitching it with DMC 503 and 928, which are a light green and a slightly darker green. And when I stitched on it, I did about 500 stitches, and you can barely tell I did anything because there's so many stitches in each section. But you can see I'm working, not even close to done, but almost done with what would have been the May section. There you can see I worked on a lot of that negative area and stretched the borders down. So at least something happened to it. So that was all my Modern Folk Mondays. Today, like I said, I'll be working on the 2023 stitch along and maybe try for another 500 stitches. All right, so that I have one more full coverage to show today. I've worked on my mini sunflower house. This is also by Heaven and Earth Designs, charted by them. The artwork is by Donna Gelsinger. And this one I've been trying to work on every Sunday. Most of the Sundays since I've seen you last, I've managed to put about 500 stitches on it. One Sunday I didn't. It just didn't work out that way. And I forgot that I put it on a new hoop. I got a nerd frame, which I do like. It's kind of funny feeling when you're used to holding a Q-snap for full coverage. So I got this pretty pink one. I just took it off like there was nothing to it, Darcy. My buddy Darcy Cameron's supposed to be stitching this one too, but he's been very busy on Sundays, and I don't know if you saw his new design, but go check out his Etsy store because he's got a new Beatles design up. And also Emma X Stitching is hosting this Sal, which is Sunflower Cottage Sal, I think is just the hashtag. But I'm getting there. Yesterday I was really excited to start making that red heart that I know you've heard me talk about repeatedly, but I didn't get to any of the red yet. I did finally finish the big white heart though, that's all filled in. Slowly getting there. This one is only at about, I think, 40% done right now. The tablet I'm filming with is where my pattern keeper is. I don't really know. I think it looks pretty good. Getting there. And these nerd frames, I've seen several people talk about them. Some people love them, some people don't love them as much. But I don't think they're very difficult to use. So there's that. And let's see how quickly I can get this back on here. Hopefully it doesn't take a lot of time. I probably should have done this before I started filming, but today I went shopping, I went to the gym. I didn't prepare for longer than 5 minutes for this video. So then this is what you get when you're living this hectic life that I'm putting it on wrong too. So I really do think it goes on quite easily, and I'm going to do this after. But when you try to do it in the wrong direction, it's harder. So always make sure you're trying to put it on the frame in the right direction. There's that. So I'm going to set that aside. Although look, it just snaps right back in. We're almost there. Try not to break the needle in the middle of this. I lost it. Okay, I'm moving that over. So that was a good one. Oh, I had socks to show you guys and I didn't get them ready. So I'll save the knitting for next video. I've also been working on the Better Together Frosty Friend Sal, which is hosted by Laura from LiQWYD Stitches. She has a lovely Flosstube channel and she was hosting a stitch along. I think I just started it. And since I last saw you, I finished my first block of the Frosty Forest by Cottage Needleworks and started block 2, which I've worked on a couple times. I was excited to get that roof done. This little house I'm stitching is going to be a pretty color with this. I don't know if you can see it with the door and the window trim. It's a little raccoon house, a raccoon cabin, I guess. Raccoon cabin. So it's coming along. Not too much done. I'm doing this completely in a Leo and Roxy floss conversion, except for this dark brown and the white. The white is just the basic DMC, I think, the SICK B5200, and then the dark brown is whatever they call it for DMC is, but everything else has been these really fun colors so far, like Roses Are Gold, Statuesque, Fossil. I'm excited to use more Icicle. That color, that's such a me color. Okay, so it shows up. It's not bright white, it's like a minty green. Close. That's pretty close. And what else am I using? Oh, this green. Oof, this is so fun. This is uranium glass, which is brighter and more vibrant than it's currently showing up. It's fun. And this one is Snarky. That's pretty close. And those are, I think, far the ones that I've used. But I'm loving them. They're so nice to work with. I'm doing 1 strand over 2. Oh, and my linen for this is a color and cotton even weave in the color Patina. So I'm going to try to finish that up this month. I know we're getting close, but still going to try, because the goal for the stitch along was to do 2 blocks. I'm doing the 2 different blocks than Laura chose, but my goal is to stitch all 9 pieces together one day. So I have them started. Another Cottage Needleworks project that I had started last month and have been working on as my lunch stitching is Snow Village. And since I last saw you, I finished the first block and have a good start on the second block. So this is Snowflakes for Sale, and this one is the Peppermint Store. And I truly have only been able to work on it at school. I'm stitching this on 32 count gray petty point with the called for floss. 1 strand over 2, because I find 2 strands very bulky. And I don't enjoy the sewing method as much with them. So mine tend to look a little less vibrant than everybody else who uses 2. My stitches don't pop quite as much, but I do like that look. So that one I think I can get done this month too. On my WIPCO board, it was finish a section. So I finished that 1 section of Frosty Forest count and the first section of Snow Village, and that counted. So that's some progress. here is a new stitch along that it's an old project of mine, but I pulled it out because Emma from Emma X Stitching and Joe from Belushi Stitches have started this stitch along for February through April, and it is called Spring Hair by Lottie Da. And I've heard this pattern's very hard to get right now. So I'm sorry if you're looking for it and you can't find it. That's a very frustrating thing to have happen. This is one I started back in 2020 maybe? Maybe it was 2019. Whatever year I did March Madness last. And I worked on it one night and I got more border done and I got his little bouquet done. And I'm stitching this with DMC 310 and another DMC, nope, not a DMC. Sorry, didn't mean to lie again. Meadow green. So it's a very pale green. And I just love him. He's cute. So my goal is to try to get this finished by April as I stitch along with Emma and Joe. I don't know if anybody else has started it yet. They have a great Facebook group now called Sal Queens and Friends, and you can find it if you search Facebook, and you just have to answer a couple questions to get in. But if you want to stitch on any of their Sals and share your progress, it's a great friendly group. That was a good start. And I think to my last piece that I've worked on, and that is my Augusta National piece by Awesome Pattern Studio. Augusta National is the home of the Masters Golf Tournament, which is coming up in April, early April, so it's like really close. I don't know if anybody happened to watch this past couple weekends. There's some great golf on television, and we're getting really close to the Players Championship, which is the first major of the year. So exciting. If you're not into golf, the best tournament I think to probably watch was the Phoenix Open. That was 2 weekends ago, because it's more rowdy and it's not as reserved. It's more fun to watch. But I've worked on this, I think 2 or 3 times and done 500 stitches each time. And it's still here. I'm excited to get to the pink, which is like all of the azaleas that are in bloom and in Augusta. And I haven't gotten there yet. However, it's getting there. It's still very relaxing stitching, nice and chunky blocks. So you do feel like you're making good progress. The golf flag that this is on, there's one hole that this is showing, and there will be one little golf flag, but it's still down there. I think I'll be excited to get to that. So that kept getting spun on my Tiny Decisions wheel for LiQWYD, because I had this month stitched 500 stitches on full coverage, and I consider that one full coverage, even though it's not as detailed as a Haid. That's still a lot of stitches, and so I've done 1,500 stitches already. Oh, I was wrong. So since I last saw you, I worked more on my fox. I didn't finish, and I'm going to explain why. There's a couple of things. First problem with my fox by Cottage Garden Samplings is that someone, most likely me, took threads out of this bag that are the tree colors, and I cannot find them, and they're not in any other nearby boxes, and so I haven't been able to finish my trees. Then someone else, me again, stitched the foot wrong and is debating on whether or not I'm going to frog it. And he's very handsome. I know, he's very handsome. However, this foot is 1 row too high because back here I made a mistake somewhere. I'll probably take it out and redo it. And I really wanted to start the swans this month, but I just didn't want to unpick that foot, and I didn't want to continue. However, he's looking very handsome. And you can see like this part of his body, I have all of the dark brown done, so it's just fill in. It's going to be such easy stitching. And then his other little foot just goes right here. That's all black. Most of the colors are completed. There's a few more snowflakes and a couple more trees, and then he's done. He's beautiful. Oh. Why do I stitch the foot wrong? Why do I do these things? I don't know. I'm going to share a purchase I made this morning. I will link the people below who I've seen on Instagram who have been buying these. I bought a jewelry box at Target. A little zippered box. It's not very big. And you can open it up. And it's got little pockets. It's got little straps. I'm debating on if I'm going to take this out as others have. But people have taken these cute little jewelry boxes and they've made them into a little stitching box. And I decided this morning that I needed one for Stitch North because it'll honestly be very helpful when I'm home as well because my stitching stuff is just everywhere. But if I had this little box with things like, like my dag nabbit and my little fuzz catcher and a pair of scissors or two and some extra needles and maybe some extra needle minders, just having it all here would be really nice. So I went to Harbor Freight, which is a hardware store, and I bought some magnets that are like this size rectangle. So I'm going to put those in there and cover them up and glue them in so that these are nice needle holder boxes. And if I took the ring holders out, this would probably be more usable. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. And then you can clip scissors up here. And I don't know, tuck things in there. Very handy though. So this idea was not my idea. I'm totally copying. I will link the people below who I'm copying from. So you can check theirs out that are all done. They look great and very useful. And now I have one too. Okay, so reading wise, since I've last seen everybody, I might have finished a couple books. But currently, I'm really close to done with the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. And I'm enjoying it. It just kind of took longer than I expected it to. I thought I'd get more caught up in it. And I'm blaming me not getting caught up in it on how small the font is. I can't read it on the treadmill. It's only before bedtime reading, and when the words are little, I just don't read as much. So I think I would have liked it even better in hardcover, because I bet the font's bigger in hardcover. And I can read hardcovers on the treadmill. These are just too flimsy. And then on the treadmill, I've been reading Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, and this one, I don't even know where it's headed. It is dark though, and it's kind of like a whimsical feel where the grandmother was a children's book writer who lived on this little island, and that's a very messed up family, big time. And the characters are all flawed deeply. So you don't know what's going to happen, and you kind of are willing to accept it happening to any one of them because they're so flawed. So, Daisy Darker as well. I have right behind me an FFO. Last month on my Whipco board I had to finish some things. I'm going to insert some pictures too of my other ones. I finished my calendar crates January. I did the small and the main piece, and I got them hung up. And since then I've taken them down and I've hung up my February ones as well. So that's exciting. And I also finished my Snowy Chockful, which is by Calendar Crates is by Stitching with the Housewives. Priscilla Blaine and Chelsea, her daughter. This is also by them and also hands-on design. And I just put this on a piece of sticky board with a little bit of snowball trim. I'm going to show you my fancy background. And it's just this little metal board. And then the pillow, just a little pom-pom trim on the pillow. And then on the back, I've got some, I think these are Chelsea checks. But I didn't have any iron-on transfer to put a shape on the back, so mine just looks like it had surgery for now. I'd hoped to cover it up, and I had ideas for how to cover it up. I didn't have all the tools, and I didn't feel like going to the store to buy them. Probably because it was a snowy day. So I've got that on display right now. So those finishes all got completely done out of the box of shame. All right, so I'm sorry if you've noticed I've been looking down. I have my planner and it had a nice list. I don't think I skipped anything. Everything's written down. I showed you all the things on the list except for the socks. Sorry. I did finish my vintage claw socks, and then I started a new pair of socks. And then I started an infant hat with my leftover vintage claws yarn. And it just looks like a 3-inch circle right now. It's not very exciting. As we go through the rest of February, though, I want to make more progress on the things I showed you, especially Frosty Forest. And I also am going to start looking at some March pieces that I want to work on more. I'm pretty sure my March calendar crate is not done being stitched, so that is one I want to finish up. I did join the club from Fat Quarter Shop, the new Stitching the Housewives one, and it's a really cute little spring stitch, and I would like to work on that. And I'm also going to continue working on saving up money for Stitch North because that's coming up in 2 months. So I want to be ready to go enjoy myself at that event. And that's about it. I'm way behind on Flosstube. I feel like I haven't seen anything. I'm also not planning on doing much market shopping. I have too much else going on with all my projects anyway. I've started enough probably already this year, and you've heard me just plan another new start. And I have so many whips. So I just have to keep plugging away here. If you have any advice on packing for a retreat, please share it. I know I'm working on my little project box, but I am already feeling conflicted on what projects to take and how many to take. I have a feeling I'll end up talking more than stitching anyway. Maybe. I don't know. Please give me your advice if you've been to a cross-stitch retreat. I'm excited, and I don't want to make terrible decisions for my first one. Otherwise, I hope you're all well. I hope you're getting plenty of stitching time in, and that if you're in a wintry area right now, your winter is mild like mine, and you're actually getting to go outside and hike a little and enjoy the outside air, which that's been such a treat this year. And that's it. So I will hope to film again in March. I'm not going to try for February. There's just no way. But until then, I look forward to seeing you again and all of your work on Instagram and YouTube. You truly do inspire me, and I appreciate all the sharing you guys do with your projects. Thank you. So take care, everyone. Bye.